Hello friends, today I will discuss the Hopkinson's test. Here, the aim of this test is to overcome the disadvantages which were observed in case of Swinburne test. So in case of Swinburne test, we used to conduct the no load test on DC shunt motor and we used to find the motor mode operation efficiency, similarly generator mode operation efficiency at different loads. In that case, we do not know what is the temperature rise of the armature resistance or the stray loss conditions under actual load conditions. So to overcome those, so there is a test called Hopkinson test, and here our aim is to know the stray loss of each machine and to know the copper loss of each machine and to know the efficiency of each machine. That is, each machine means there are two machines which are identical in nature and both are DC shunt machines. And the speciality of these two machines, DC machines, is they are mechanically coupled and electrically connected, and they are identical in nature, and their field windings are connected in parallel to the main supply. So when we look at the diagram, it appears like this. This is the DC supply, and this is the motor, and this is the generator, which are connected mechanically or coupled mechanically. And here this motor armature is this, and the current that goes into the motor is called IAM, and this current comes one from the main supply that we call as IL, the other comes from the generator armature when switch is closed. The field winding of the motor is here. This is the field winding of the motor, and that is connected in series with the rheostat like this, and this branch or this field winding is also connected with the ammeter to measure the current that flows into this, and the current that flows into the shunt field winding of the motor we call as ISHM. And then this is the supply, and this is the voltmeter which is connected across the supply to measure the supply voltage. And this field winding of the motor is directly connected to the supply. This is one terminal of the field winding circuit, and this is another terminal of the field circuit connected across the supply. Similarly, there is an ammeter A1 here, so that measures the current that flows into the motor armature, that is represented by IL, and this line emanates from the supply. And here this is the generator armature, and the current that flows from the generator we call that as IAG, or the generator armature current, and there is an ammeter connected in series with this to measure the generator armature current. And this is the generator field circuit, this is the field winding, and this is the rheostat connected in series with this field winding. And to measure the current that flows in this field circuit, we use here a ammeter that is connected in series like this, and this current, the current that is flowing in the shunt field of the DC generator we call as ISHG, and it is connected across the supply. You can see here, this is one terminal connected to the supply, and this other terminal of the field circuit connected to the negative of the supply. Next, here we have a voltmeter and we have a switch here. So initially the switch is in open condition. Across this a voltmeter will be connected like this. This is all about the arrangement for this test. When it comes to the operation, first we have to keep this rheostat in the minimum position, whereas this rheostat in the maximum position, so that this develops least voltage, and whereas this operates at low speed. So then, after switching on the supply, vary this rheostat, motor field rheostat, in such a way that motor attains rated speed. Now, vary the field rheostat of the generator in such a way that the generated voltage from the generator is equal to the supply. That can be observed by using this voltmeter. So we have to go on varying this field rheostat, that is reducing this field rheostat means field current increases. So once the flux increases, field current increases means flux increases, so the voltage generated by the generator increases. Once the voltage developed by the generator is equal to the supply voltage, this voltmeter shows 0 voltage. That means the supply voltage and generator voltage are equal in magnitude. Under that condition, we have to close this switch. Once we close this switch, we can say the generator is in the floating condition. Means it will not supply any current, or it will not take any current by the generator. So now, vary the field rheostat of the generator and also field rheostat of the motor. That is, here you increase the generator field circuit current, increase the field current of the generator, and whereas here reduce the field current so that the speed of the motor increases, and in such a way that this motor takes maximum current from this generator. That is, the current that comes from the generator is IAG, so which meets the maximum load current of this motor. And under that condition, there is some current that comes from the supply, that is called IL. This current is normally less when the generator supplies maximum current to the motor. Once this happens, so we have to note down all the meter readings, this voltmeter reading and ammeter reading, here ammeter reading, here also ammeter reading, and this ammeter reading. So then we have to use that data for analyzing this test. That is, first we are going to get the KCL equation to get the currents in various branches. So here we have to assume that the applied voltage to the motor is V volts, and the motor armature resistance we call as RAM, generator armature resistance is RAG, motor field current is nothing but ISHM. Generator field current we call that as ISHG, and motor armature input current from the supply IL, and motor armature input current from the generator is IAG, and motor armature current IAM from using KCL at node of the motor armature, we get IL plus IAG. So here we can observe this is the node, and the current entering into the armature here means from this node current is leaving, whereas the two currents are entering this node, that is IL plus IAG is equal to IAM. Similarly, armature current of generator we call as IAG. Now we start analyzing this circuit. So first we take the motor into account. So the aim of this is to know what is the stray loss of each machine. So power drawn by the armature of the motor is given by V into IL. So in the circuit we can find that is what is that V into IL. So this is the supply voltage we call as V, and the current that flows from the supply is IL. So the input power drawn by the motor armature from the supply is V into IL. That is what we have written there. So here the power drawn by the armature of the motor, which is VIL, is nothing but is utilized to overcome all the losses of both the machines. That is magnetic loss and mechanical loss of both the machines. So magnetic loss plus mechanical loss put together we call as stray loss, and we normally represent with PS. Since it belongs to both the machines, so we represent with 2 into PS like this, plus generator armature copper loss plus motor armature copper loss. So in this circuit the armature generator armature current is different, motor armature current is different, so we have to calculate separate copper losses. So we can further write the input power to the armature of the motor VIL is equal to 2 times the stray loss, that is VIL is equal to 2 into PS plus armature copper loss of the generator, that is IAG square into RAG plus IIM square into RAM. Here RAG means it is the armature resistance of the generator, RAM means it is the armature resistance of the motor. Now from this equation we can write what is the stray loss of each machine. So we can write like this. So VIL minus both the armature copper losses of generator and motor divided by 2. Then now we can find out what is the input to the motor, that is represented by Pi sub m, that is V into the armature current plus the field current of the motor. So that is V into IAM plus ISHM. So total loss in motor, we represent with PLM, so which is equal to stray loss plus armature copper loss of the motor plus field copper loss of the motor. So field copper loss of the motor we can write as V into ISHM. V is the applied voltage across the shunt field winding of the motor, and ISHM is the current drawn by the field winding of the motor, and this IIM square and RAM is nothing but armature copper loss of the motor, and PS is the stray loss of the motor or each machine. So now we know since we know the input power to the motor and also the loss of the motor, total loss of the motor, so we can calculate what is the output power of the motor, that is POM is nothing but input power of the motor minus total losses in the motor. So now we can calculate, once we know this output power of the motor and the input power of the motor, we can calculate what is the efficiency of this motor, that is POM divided by PIM into 100. Next, generator. So we have seen that the machine with a high field current acts as the generator, whereas the machine with less field current acts as the motor. So that is the reason why, while explaining the circuit operation, I told the field current of the generator is increased and the field current of the motor is decreased. So when we take the generator, that is whose field current is more, so we write output power of the generator POG is given by V into IAG, that is voltage across the load or across the motor into the current coming out of the armature of the generator, and the total loss in the generator is nothing but we represent with PLG, and that is nothing but stray loss of the generator plus armature copper loss in the generator plus the field copper loss of the generator, that is V into ISHG, where this ISHG is nothing but field current in the generator, whereas IAG is the armature current of the generator, RAG is the armature resistance of the generator. So once we know the output of the generator and the total loss of the generator, now we can calculate what is the input to the generator or total input to the generator. So total input to the generator we represent with PIG, that is nothing but output plus losses. So that is POG plus PLG. So once we know the output of the generator and also input of the generator, we can find what is the efficiency of the generator, which is represented by eta G, which is equal to POG divided by PIG into 100, that is output power of the generator divided by input power of the generator into 100 will give us the efficiency in percentage. So then coming to its disadvantages. So finding the two identical DC machines is very difficult, and coming to the advantages, so here we are really applying or sending the full load current to the motor, and the generator is also operating under full load conditions. So the temperature rise we can observe in both the machines. Similarly, we can also find out what is the effect of temperature on the armature resistance of both the generator and motor, and also we can find what is the power drawn from supply. So it is normally low under this test conditions. Next, third is stray losses under load conditions is taken, and the efficiency at different loads can be obtained by using this test data. So let me summarize once that, so in case of Hopkinson test, we need two identical DC shunt machines, and they have to be mechanically coupled and electrically connected, and one of the machine acts as the motor, so whose field current is less, and whereas the other machine acts as the generator whose field current is more. And from this test we will find actual stray loss under load conditions for both the machines at a time, and also we can also find what is the generator efficiency, what is the motor efficiency under actual load conditions.